the Define. The Define has 2 hands-free applicators, and then the Morpheus M24 and the Forma. The 2 hands-free applicators are for the jowl, labiomental fold, nasolabial fold, and jawline. The Submentum is for submental fat reduction and contouring. So 2 hands-free applicators for the lower face, jowl, jawline, smile line, marionette line, and the submental double chin. So let's take a look at the applicator for the lower face. So our patient is perfectly comfortable. We're going to sell some contouring for her face. It could be hands-on Forma, Morpheus, toxin filler like tomorrow. Or if I have Define and the Evolve in my practice, I can sell a hands-free Define at the same time as the body. Let's take a look at our lower face device applicator here. And so this is our hands-free. Give me a little more room here. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. And this is what it looks like. I'm going to remove that because it's held by a magnet. This attaches to the lower part of the face. That's nasolabial fold, labiomental fold, and the jawline. You can see it's kind of rounded because it sits on the face in the concave shape of the mandibular border. And so you're going to position this so it's sitting on the face, juxtaposition to where you want it to tighten. And so the mandibular border, smile line, and jowl. And so it's like a hockey stick. It positions just like that. This is treating the nasolabial fold, bipolar RF. This is treating the labiomental fold, bipolar RF, and then jowl and jawline. And it fits like a hockey stick on the lower face, one on each side, to treat the jowl, labiomental fold, nasolabial fold, and jawline. It comes with this kind of headgear applicator, and it snaps in with this intelligent magnet system on the inside right here. And it allows you to rotate then the applicator wherever you want it to be and how it sits on the face. So I'm going to hand this to Shannon, and she's going to show us hooking this up to our young lady here today while she's getting her Evolve X Transform treatment. We're also going to hook up her Define. And so, Shannon, walk us through the steps of hooking this up and some of the tactics and strategies to doing so. There we go.
There are a couple different levers or switches that you adjust to either make so that it'll customize to fit every head shape. And then we're just going to prop it over her. I'm going to have you lift up just a little bit if you don't mind. And first I like to put it on without gel. And then once we have it fitted, I'll just slightly move it to the side and put some gel on with a tongue depressor. And I'm just tightening it slightly.
And so there's always about 5 minutes of fiddle time with hands-free body, hands-free face, getting them the electrodes ideally positioned on the lower face to impact upon the nasolabial fold, labiomental fold, jowl, and jawline. So you see how Shannon's carefully lining them up for the skin contraction in those zones.
And I can tighten it so that it applies a little more pressure so it stabilizes on the cheek.
So let's look at the machine itself, and let's turn it around so that Carlos can take a look at the Define, pull the Define into play. There we go. So that's the front of the Define. Again, it uses color-coordinated electrodes. And so each bipolar electrode combination, there's 4 of them, is denoted by a number. And you can see the color code across the top, just like the Transform, we want to get to the yellow. Now, if you look at the little dials on the bottom, watch what we're doing here. So come off our patient now if you can, Carlos. And we're looking at the, oh, yeah, there we go. So when you fiddle with the dial, it changes the pressure modulus on the actual applicator. And I'll show you that in just a second. And so some practices like to put the gel on first, some put the gel on second. I think putting the gel on second is a good idea because it allows you a little more accuracy on placement of the electrode each time. So same ultrasound gel as you used on the body. And you're placing that along the electrode apparatus between each bipolar, and there's 4 of them, configuration, and the nasolabial, labiomental fold, and jawline. So now you reposition again. And she's doing the tightening knob that relays the kind of pressure that brings to the skin. And so realigning them so they're over the nasolabial fold and labiomental fold. And there's a little bit of fiddle time. She's actually lying on the back of her head, which makes the occipital a little bit trickier to line up. Perfect. Now, if we go back and look at the machine, she's nicely hooked up. You're going to see there's a couple little pressure dials there at the bottom. And you want to be level 1, level 2 most of the time. You want to make sure the mandibular border's in contact. You can activate 4 and 8 on her because her mandibular border is longer. And once we're happy with the positioning, we go ahead and we give her energy. And so there is no EMS with this, so we go right to the top of the RF dial, which is up to 30. And then we're going to do a 43-degree cutoff. And we're going to treat for about, again, for a thin face, 20 minutes, for a thicker face, 45 minutes. 20 minutes, so we treat the dermis only. We don't want to reduce her fat necessarily, so not for 40 minutes. And so we're going to hit the ready button, and she's going to have 2 hands-free technologies treating at the same time. We'll come back and check on that in just a second. It only takes a minute or 2 to heat up the Define, where it takes 3 or 4 minutes to heat up the Evolve X and the Transform. Let's go back to PowerPoint now. And so if we look at the transition from body tight, face tight, to Forma, to the hands-free Define, it's really having sustained in place, hands-free kinetic energy, creating oscillation, heat, and then sustaining that heat to get skin tightening and fat destruction. What we don't want is dead fat on a skinny face. And we don't want loose skin if we've killed fat. We want to control both. And so if you are going to treat her jowl for 45 minutes, there'll be some of that heat that goes below the dermis, and you get some fat destruction. So if you have a thin face, I treat with the Define for 20 minutes. If I've got a fuller face, like a jowl or submenum, I treat for 40 minutes, because you will get some fat destruction with prolonged bipolar radiofrequency hyperthermia. And so 45 minutes at 43 degrees equals apoptosis, which is great when it's the Transform, and it's great if you have a submetal waddle or a jowl. But if it's a pretty skinny face, you just want skin tightening, I do bipolar radiofrequency Define for 20 minutes, once a week for 6 weeks. So that's the package with the hands-free for the face. For someone like this, her jawline would be 20 minutes. The submetal applicator would be 40 minutes to reduce her neck.